What does the Bible really say about homosexuality? In a world of complicated political debate, this question seems to have a certain answer. Yet Christian scripture isn't quite as black and white as culture believes it to be. Historically, Christians have been adamant and consistent in their position against same-sex relationships. So why has Christian theology only recently witnessed a political divide on this issue? The Bible does seem to be directly against homosexuality from an objective perspective. A common example of this lies within the story of the city of Sodom. The men of Sodom have sexual relationships with male visitors from another city, so God punishes the Sodomites with death. Although the reasons for their punishment are explicitly stated, including rape, lying, and adultery, homosexuality is not mentioned. This strongly supports the theory that God does not specifically consider homosexuality a sin. However, this is only one example. In another passage of the Bible, homosexuality is considered an abomination. This can be interpreted in many different ways. Many Christian leaders believe that this means exactly how it sounds. Homosexuality is a sin, and it is punishable by death. On the other side of the argument, some theologians argue that this is purely cultural meaning that homosexuality was not societally encouraged or accepted. Perhaps the most convincing argument, however, is that homosexuality is a source of uncleanliness rather than a sin, just as eating the incorrect animal was also categorized as an uncleanliness. And Christians believe that Jesus erased all of the previous rules on uncleanliness from the Old Testament, supporting but not affirming the argument for homosexual acceptance in the Christian community. The glaring issue with the evangelical debate on homosexuality is translation and cultural significance. Because the Bible was not originally written in English, many of the words used to condemn homosexuality that seem strictly negative were used differently in that time period and language. For example, Paul, a significant Christian evangelist, describes homosexuality as unnatural in the book of Romans. In its original language, unnatural reads paraphysin, meaning atypical in English, not unnatural. The same word, paraphysin, is also used to describe God as atypical. Instead of unnatural, Paul simply describes homosexuality as atypical in society, which is not condemnation. If the same word is used to describe God and homosexuality, then how can one make a sound argument against it completely? Although there is sound evidence disproving the Bible's lack of condemnation of homosexuality, there are still a few examples of homosexuality's sinful nature. The Bible states that if a man were to have sexual relations with another man, as he would with his wife, he is a lawbreaker and a sinner. It also says that homosexuality is detestable and punishable by death. There is one important element of the Bible's language that slips through the cracks. The Bible only refers to the sin of homosexuality as dishonorable sexual actions, not a relationship. Just as the Bible refers to homosexual relations as dishonorable, it also refers to sex before marriage as dishonorable in the same way. Also, sexual intimacy is not the sole purpose of a relationship. The Bible states itself that the primary purpose of marriage is for God's glory, not procreation. To say that homosexuality is simply lust is a misrepresentation of what it truly is. Homosexuality can be sinful or pure depending on the context, just as a heterosexual relationship can be. In addition, marriage helps discourage sexual sin and promiscuity, making it beneficial for both heterosexuals and homosexuals. To deny marriage to a homosexual couple is to cause them to participate in sinful acts rather than pure acts. Even if a Christian believes that homosexuality is a sin, it is still one sin against many. Christians believe that we are all sinners, so why do they choose to single out one sin that is hardly even mentioned in the Bible? To forbid and condemn homosexuality is to judge another human, which is also condemned by God, and it is also to impede upon the free will given to each human by God. Even if a Christian believes that homosexuality is detestable, unnatural, and an abomination, it is still not their place to control and judge the lives of others as their equals.